In today's topic, we will talk about estrogen, progesterone, menstrual cycle, periods, birth control pills. In this one topic, in this one lecture, we'll discuss with you guys all these points because these all points are going to be discussed in this particular lecture. Okay? Through this diagram, we will understand the entire lecture and entire points. So let's get started from the very first point, that is actually hypothalamus. We know this point very well, that in the hypothalamus there is one of the hormones known as gonadotropin releasing hormone. This hormone is supposed to travel down through hypophyseal portal system to the anterior pituitary. Hypothalamus is having connection with the anterior pituitary. How we have hypothalamus? It is having connection with the pituitary. So got, now this is our hypothalamus and this is our pituitary, and here is the anterior and this is the posterior. So this is going to have a kind of action on the anterior pituitary, a kind of control, you can say, one can say. Well, gonadotropin releasing hormone from the hypothalamus by means of the hypophyseal portal system will come towards the anterior pituitary. Now, in the anterior pituitary, there are several types of cells available. One of those, like basophils, named as gonadotropes. Now, these gonadotropes are supposed to release FSH when there is signal of FSH given to them. That is given by the gonadotropin releasing hormone. This gonadotropin releasing hormone from the hypothalamus will start moving to the through or via hypophyseal portal system. They will come to the anterior pituitary, where the basophils like gonadotropes are stimulated. Now, those gonadotropes are responsible to release two types of the hormones: follicle stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone. Now, follicle stimulating hormone, guess what? This is also released in male. Okay, male. Okay. Now we're talking about the female because these all are actually about the female. So in the female, follicle stimulating hormone, the name is telling you something about this term. That is, this hormone, follicle stimulating hormone, is supposed, or as you can say, responsible to stimulate the follicles. Now, when these follicles are stimulated, they are then responsible to be matured. So, in short, follicle stimulating hormones are responsible to do the follicle maturation. So, in the meanwhile, when the follicles are maturating or in the process of maturation, what is supposed to happen? Follicles will maturate, and in the meanwhile, they will release estrogen. A very low concentration of estrogen will be released, and this low concentration of estrogen is responsible to inhibit luteinizing hormone. This luteinizing hormone. Why? Very simple. We don't want premature ovulation. Okay, so for that reason, the estrogen is supposed to be in low concentration in the body. So is according to the menstrual cycle, we know that the menstrual cycle is composed of two phases, follicular phase and luteal phase, which is actually composed of two divisions, 0 to 14 days and from 14 to 28 days. Now this is actually the two phases and divided into days. So during the follicular phase, this is happening. Follicles are in the process of maturation by means of what? By means of follicle stimulating hormone. So in the meanwhile, when they are we're in the process of maturation, they are releasing estrogen in a very low concentration. As the follicle maturation step reaches the 14th day, they will increase the concentration of the estrogen. Now, the same estrogen which was first of all inhibiting luteinizing hormone, now this will give a positive feedback signal to the luteinizing hormone. So what will happen? We know about the luteinizing hormone, which is responsible to do the ovulation. Ovules will be removed, or you can say ovulation will be happening hereby. So what happened? Simple. First of all, signal was given by the gonadotropin releasing hormone, which was this hormone traveling via hypophyseal portal system. Hypophyseal portal system. So by means of this system, it moved to the anterior pituitary, where it formed basophil cells, which were gonadotropes, and they were stimulated by the gonadotropin releasing hormone. Now these gonadotropes will release follicle stimulating hormone. Now this follicle stimulating hormone will cause the maturation of the follicles in the ovary. This maturation will start from 0 to 14 days, and as it is in the process of maturation, means the follicles are actually now stimulated, they are mature, they are in the process of maturation. primary follicle, secondary, etc., etc. So what is happening here? Maturation is happening here. In the meanwhile, a low, you can say a minute concentration of the luteinizing estrogen is released. A minute concentration of the estrogen is released. You can say in low concentration estrogen is released. This low concentration estrogen is responsible to inhibit luteinizing hormone. Why? That in order to protect the ovule premature ovulation, in order to protect the ovule from premature ovulation. So what will happen? Premature ovulation will not happen. So what happens is it reaches the 14. By then it will start increasing the concentration of the estrogen. The same estrogen, when it is in the high concentration, then this is responsible to stimulate this luteinizing hormone. Then what will happen? Then the ovulation will happen. Till this place, I hope you got the entire discussion of the follicle stimulating hormone, luteinizing hormone, and estrogen. So about the estrogen, we got here two important points. Number one, when it is in low concentration, it is inhibiting luteinizing hormone. Why? That there must not or might not happen the premature ovulation. In order to inhibit the premature ovulation, we must have low concentration of the estrogen in the body during the follicular phase. And as this follicular phase is about to end, so what will happen? Estrogen's concentration will increase in the body, and that will stimulate neutralizing hormone to act on this mature follicle. Now this follicle, when it is mature, when it is mature, it will release the ovule. What will happen then? Ovulation will happen. Ovum is released, ovulation will happen. Now this ovulation which has happened, what will happen then? Then the luteal phase will start. Now what is happening here, when the ovule is removed, then this structure is becoming a kind yellow, and which is called as corpus luteum, and this is then responsible to release inhibin, estrogen, progesterone. Now what these hormones are doing? Very simple. Inhibin is inhibiting the follicle stimulating hormone, estrogen is inhibiting the luteinizing hormone, progesterone is inhibiting the gonadotropin releasing hormone. In short, one can say corpus luteum is blocking the entire cycle from the top till bottom. The entire pathway is actually a kind blocked. Why? Because gonadotropin releasing hormone, if progesterone is released, it is inhibiting gonadotropin releasing hormone. So if gonadotropin releasing hormone is not releasing, what is happening here? Hypophyseal portal system is not free, is the free kind. Why? Because gonadotropin releasing hormone are not coming to the anterior pituitary, and basophils like gonadotropes are not stimulated, so follicle stimulating hormones are not released, and luteinizing hormones are not released. So if these are not released, follicle stimulating hormones are not released, follicles will not maturate, means there will be no maturation of the follicles, and luteinizing hormones are if not released, there is no ovulation. If there is no follicle stimulating hormone, so the follicles are not in the process going to happen in maturation. So you can say in short, there will be no follicles available. So if the follicles are not available, how the ovulation will happen? Oh, very simple. So we got the understanding from here now that inhibin, estrogen, progesterone are actually a kind stopping the entire path. Now why this is happening? Very simple. Very simple. Guess what? If this ovum gets fertilized, what will happen then? Then in the body, it is must that the concentration of the estrogen and progesterone must rise in the body. According to textbooks, these two are focused mainly and so much or too much that when estrogen is in high concentration in the body and when progesterone are in high concentration in the body, what will happen? Then they will increase the chances of pregnancy. Why? Because estrogen is inhibiting the luteinizing hormone. No more ovulation will happen. Just the simple, the first ovulation that happened will remain. And when progesterone is are released, they will inhibit the gonadotropin releasing hormone, which is actually a kind, you can say, there is a decrease in the concentration of the follicle stimulating hormone. So if gonadotropin releasing hormones are not released, then there won't be the follicle stimulating hormones, then there won't be new follicles. So if there are no new follicles, there will be no new ovulations. So you can say, one can say, I can say, we can say that what will happen? Then this ovum will remain, and fertilized ovum will further undergo the process, that is for the synthesis or formation of the embryo, and at the end birth will happen. So what happens if this ovum is not fertilized? If this ovum is not fertilized, what will happen? The corpus luteum, by the time is the days are actually passing from 14 till 28, This will start degrading. And what will happen at the end when the concentration of the progesterone estrogen decrease? What will happen? The menstrual cycle will happen. We can say that the bleeding will start, or you can say the periods will start from here. What happened then when the period starts? So the progesterones are now decreased. Why? Because it has degraded now, and estrogens are not available. So if they are decreasing, one thing is supposed to increase, that is gonadotropin releasing hormones stimulation would increase. So if the stimulation of the gonadotropin releasing hormones is increasing, this will cause the stimulation of the gonadotropes in the anterior pituitary, which will again release follicle stimulating hormone, which will again start the maturation of the follicles, and luteinizing hormone will cause the ovulation, and again there will be the release of all these, and the cycle will go again this way. This is how cyclic pathway is actually happening. Got? This is the entire pathway, entire mechanism regarding estrogen, progesterone, and menstrual cycle or periods. So this is how all these happen. Now one thing is remaining, that is birth control pill. Birth control pills. So we are using these two, estrogen and progesterones, synthetic, okay? So they are used as birth control pills. Now what is the mechanism of action of these pills when they are used? So here we got a simple understanding. When these are available, the pregnancy like conditions will remain, and pregnancy will happen, you can say in short. Why? Because these are responsible to inhibit the new follicles formation and new ovulation. So new ovulation, new follicles will not be happening. No new follicle formations, no new ovulations will happen, just one. And rest of the functions like progesterone are doing, estrogens are actually doing, they will happen in the body for according to the pregnancy. Whatever is needed in the body during the pregnancy, like the change in the shape of the uterus and much more things like happening in the female, that will be maintained by these hormones. So what we are doing in order to control the birth, so we take these medicine, estrogen and progesterone. What they are doing? Simple. They will actually just act like the same estrogen and progesterone. Why? Because we are taking these two mainly as birth control pills. So what they are doing? The same. They are doing the same job. They will actually They will actually act like uh, a pregnant condition. Means they will provide a pregnant condition to the lady. So in that there won't be no new follicles, no new ovulations happening. Why? Because these two hormones are in excess. So when these hormones are in excess in the body, GANRH, gonadotropin releasing hormone, is inhibited. So follicles are not actually synthesized. Luteinizing hormones are not synthesized. So if a female starts taking these, what will happen in that? In that female, there won't be follicle stimulating hormone, there won't be luteinizing hormone. So we can say that there won't be follicle maturation, there won't be ovulation. So if there is no ovulation, then how there will be fertilization? In short, so they are actually acting just like natural estrogen and progesterone for a longer period. So these are actually the mechanism of actions and the understandings regarding all these topics: estrogen, progesterone, menstrual cycle, periods, and birth control pills. Once again, I hope you got the understanding of the birth control pills. Birth control pills are actually the estrogen and progesterone. They are taken, and if these are taken, they will act just like natural estrogen progesterone released by the corpus luteum. So if natural estrogen progesterone, if these are released, these natural estrogen and progesterone, they were supposed or responsible to inhibit the follicle formation, inhibit the ovulation. So when we are taking these orally, so what will happen then? Then there won't be the follicle formation, there won't be the ovulation. So if there is no follicle, no ovulation, means ovum is not produced. So what will happen then? Then the ovum will not be actually what? Ovum will not be fertilized. So if ovum is not fertilized, the birth is already controlled. You can say, we can say, I can say, we can say. Anyways, in short, so this is the mechanism of action of the birth control pills. I hope you got. If still you have questions, drop in the comment box. Thank you for watching Dr. Unity Lectures.